You're listening to
The Classroom Collaborative
podcast with your hosts, Dee Wills,
Ed Rock,
and Adam Peterson.
Here we go.
We're so glad you're here.
Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Classroom Collaborative podcast. I am Adam Peterson, joined by...
Hi, I'm Dee Wills.
And we are back with a guest this week. We haven't had a guest on for a while other than doing it regularly here and there. So Dee, do you want to introduce our guest today?
Yeah, we have Edna. Edna is here from the company called Boddle Learning. And I ran into her, I guess about 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. 2 months ago, we were doing the Teacher Fixer-Upper here in Colorado. And she just comes to help and works all day. Super precious, super amazing. And during that time, I was able to learn a little bit about her company. It's a company she started with her husband, and I'm going to let you take over from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited to be on with you guys. So like Dee mentioned, my name is Edna Martinson, co-founder of Boddle Learning. So my husband Clarence and I, we started Boddle, 2018, February 2018, and he's been in the gamification space in education for like a decade plus now, and we both just, really passionate about education and ways to really improve student engagement and bring fun into learning. So that's sort of where Boddle stemmed out of. We started it in Kansas City, and we had tons of teacher friends and got to spend time, in the classroom, specifically like the elementary ages, kindergarten through 6th grade, and noticing, there's this huge learning gaps, in a 4th grade classroom, but kids are in a 2nd or 3rd grade math and reading level. And I think we all know it's not just a Kansas City problem, like nationwide, we're seeing this. And so, starting to integrate some of like the game mechanics into classroom learning and seeing how much more engaged students were, just to even practice and not being afraid to fail and wanting to try again, is where Boddle was born out from. We're like, wow, we can really take games, and then the, assessment piece that's so important and put them together to build something that's super fun and engaging. So that's sort of what we do. We use gameplay and machine learning that helps to identify where students' learning levels are at. And then we kind of are a supplement tool to help teachers, and parents, because it's used at home as well, facilitate learning.
I love it. This is right up my alley with all my teach, play, learn, and everything I speak about. So those of you listening, it is Boddle. I know when I said it, I said Boddle, and I hear bottle, Bott, but it's Boddle. Tell us about the name and how, like, this is just one day, you and your husband, like, out of nowhere. You said he had been in the space, but how do you go from this idea to creating this company now that you said is being used all over the place?
Yeah. So it's been a fun journey. Right now we've got, about a little over 475,000 registered students on the platform, which is
Holy
exciting.
Cow.
In all 50 states. And the name actually, is named after the Boddle characters. So I remember we were sitting down thinking like, what we want, like fun characters that students can resonate with and get to customize. And so we're like, should we do like animal characters? And we actually had a friend who's an artist who came up with a concept, and they'd done some stuff for Disney. And so they came up with this bottle-headed character. They sketched it up and showed it to us, and we're like, absolutely not. Well, this doesn't look good. This doesn't make any sense. But then as we kept looking at different characters, we could not get that one out of our head. And so we started to think like, what if we did? And we kind of iterated on the character. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on my phone, but like these are the bottle-headed characters.
They're so cute.
And so, as we started to think through the gameplay and really the meaning, we wanted something super meaningful. we realized like, hey, as students are learning, their heads, can be filling up to really send that message to fill up on learning. And then in the game, like once their heads are all full, they get to do cool stuff like plant trees and grow their virtual environment. So it sends that message to fill up on learning and pour back out to help others. And we ended up falling in love with it. And we're like, let's just name the company Boddle because it captures everything that we wanted to.
That's awesome.
Edna and I talked before, doing a Facebook Live. And so we were able to actually show the game and show the different, I don't want to call them modules because it's not really a module, but different, I guess they're modules, but different, applications that you can do. So what I was blown away, first of all, I'm blown away that this is free, 100% free.
I didn't know that. This is,
yeah.
Wow.
It's free. So you know how like you see this is a free app and they let you do like one thing that's not really that cool, but it's kind of cool. And then
like you could learn ABC, but that's it. Like
after that, you're done. If you don't know the rest, you're on your own.
Right.
But oftentimes they'll have these that have like a free, like intro few lessons, but you can see on the other side, you're like, that's really cool over there. But a lot of teachers may not have extra funds to pay for that or districts or whatever. And what is cool, this whole thing, there's not like a premium version. This whole thing is a premium version, but it's free. And I'm going to let you talk about, but I wanted to share, Ozzy's making me crazy. I wanted to share how customizable it is. It's not a one size fits all. You enter your students, right, Edna? You enter all of your students' names, and then you can assign various skills for them as they need to have those skills practiced. So you could customize it, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, one thing that we wanted, and I will give a huge kudos to just the teachers that are on the platform because they shared such great insight of how we can make it better, and have features that can help them differentiate learning. And so, a big part of it, and actually, I could share my screen if you'd like to kind of show you that part. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
People who are listening won't be able to see it. But it will give us, right? Because I lost your screen share. But it will give, because I had a chance to walk through it. I was just blown away.
Yeah, I think hearing any part about it, if I could see it too, I'd love to. But I think as a teacher who's listening to this going, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing and it's free. Where do I start? What do I do? So yeah, tell us whatever you can. But if you can, I don't know if you can share on here. Can you do that, Dee?
I did try and then it popped back off. But you know what? I'm going to be very descriptive here.
Okay.
All right.
As I talk through it. So, so every teacher has a teacher portal that they can go in and create a classroom. You can actually create multiple classrooms because we've talked to librarians or other teachers that are dealing with, multiple classrooms. And then within a class, if you have 20 students, 30 students, whatever it is, you can go in and let's say all three of us are in a 4th grade class. The first thing when students start is they go through a placement test. So that way, coming in, you can already see where each student's level is at and overall in the classroom, maybe some specific skills that you need to focus in on. And then if you have, let's say we're in 4th grade class, but I really need to reinforce those 3rd grade skills, the teacher can actually go in and modify just my curriculum to be 3rd grade. But on my side, I still see that I'm in a 4th grade class. So it's, I'm not feeling down about, doing 3rd grade work. I still feel included into the 4th grade classroom, which is great. And then one thing that we also implemented was assignments that can be scheduled. So even though it takes you through the placement test and all of that, sometimes teachers are like, okay, I just taught this specific math topic. I just want kids to really practice this, or I want to deliver homework through it. So they can go in and override whatever placement test or algorithm is going on and just deliver that specific assignment by number of questions or time, and then that's automatically delivered to students.
Wow. I'm looking through your website right now as you're talking, just the homepage.
Yeah.
the whole idea of the teacher parent reports and tracking that data in like real time is amazing for a game based program to do. I mean, I get it. I know that can be done. You know, games do that all the time when we play a video game or something, but the fact that what you just said about tailoring it to grade level learning, not grade level placement is huge. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really fun looking games. So it's not,
They totally are.
yeah, they don't look, it's not dry. So, it's a way to have students, I always call, I guess I didn't coin this phrase, but overlearn a skill. We want students to overlearn a skill. So practice, practice, practice until it becomes second nature for them. And so this allows for extended learning in an engaging way that hooks students. And it gives that feedback to teachers that, I know a lot of administration needs and requires, you can't just put them on a program and let them go in there and play. This is a way for you to actually get some formative assessment, some type of assessment that you can use to then, carry on to the next.
Okay, I'm listening, but I'm also watching the video on your homepage. This looks amazing. It's so fun. So one question I have is I'm watching, first of all, teachers, you got to go check this out. Boddle Learning, Boddle, boddlelearning.com. Just watch that video and you're going to be hooked. So when they're doing the writing on screen to solve the problems on the digital whiteboard, I saw a speaker button. Does that allow them to press that to hear the directions read to them?
Yes, that reads out the questions, answer options. So we got text to speech, and then another thing we implemented was a rationale. So if they get the question wrong, a rationale pops up to kind of tell them why it was wrong and what the correct answer is. So there's that extra teaching. And then we had 4 incredible elementary educators who worked with us throughout the summer. Actually, it was longer than a summer. It was maybe like half a year, to put in instructional videos. So every single question has a instructional video that pops up that explains that math concept. So kids get that like extra instruction as well, and feel more confident kind of going in to answer questions.
That's perfect, because there are some apps out there, and I'm not going to name any, but I've played so many, over the years. We see them where it presents a child a problem, but they don't know what it's asking, right? Like they'll be like just dragging random things in because there's no direction given. So I think we forget sometimes, and creators forget, that not all kids can read the directions that are put on screen. I had an opportunity to do some work reviewing digital lessons for another tech company that I've worked with for a number of years. And that was the one thing I put into every feedback that I was asked when I had to review this beta program. And then they asked questions, what would you improve? Every single time I said, you need to put a button that reads it to the child. Like, don't assume all kids can read the directions that are on screen. So that's huge. You guys, you really got to go check this out. It looks like fun.
And I loved, Edna, that you were showing, when it came to selecting, standards, there are so many. I mean, you can search them by Common Core, by TEKS, by many. I don't remember how many you had, but I know that there were quite a few in there. I'm going to say like 8 or 9 different standards. I don't quite remember, that you can select from. So it'll help you instead of, I always think about, sometimes you look at those games and it's like a big sock drawer. You're trying to like figure out which one you need. And this is a way for you to kind of really focus in as a teacher, what kind of assignments you want to hand out to students. And it just makes it so much easier, on especially something that big, as much as you have to offer, you really help teachers narrow in specifically on what they want to have students practice on. I love that.
The assessment. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and answer that. Then I had another question for you. Okay.
Now I was just going to say, what's been helpful, like a teacher in Canada messaged today and she was like, hey, I'm looking at, because there's a specific domain. She's like, this is great. We just don't cover these specific skills. So once I showed her like, hey, you can go into assignments and then just select the ones that you do focus in on. She's like, oh, that's super helpful. So it's been cool to see like educators outside of the U.S. too be like, this is great. I can use it. We don't do dollars and we don't do measurements this way, but everything else we can use. So I'm going to like use all that stuff.
Well, and I saw you said on your homepage says 100 plus countries. So I imagine you've had to put a lot of work into making this span across the globe and make it work for children of all ages. That's awesome that you're getting feedback from other countries as well. The one thing I just saw that amazes me, because a lot of, again, kind of like the text to speech isn't always customizable in games or apps. Another thing that's not always customizable is assessment of learning. And I see this page that I paused on your video here that says Boddle comes with a teacher dashboard that makes assessments super easy. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Like how, I know that's one big thing that teachers are always focused on. Okay, I get it. I'm giving my child this game to play, and you know me, I'm someone that loves that kind of stuff, but they want the purpose behind it too, and they want to see the real-time feedback, and they want to know that what they're giving their child so that they can prove to admin who might not believe in play or data teams who need to see that. Talk about these assessments that are tied into it too.
Yes, absolutely. So those help to really give teachers kind of the actionable insights and that data behind, hey, how are students doing? So the way that we design the gameplay is really tying everything back to, student learning and them going through those math questions and the math practice. And so with let's say a teacher doesn't create any assignments at all, and they just have the students kind of go in and practice grade level content. It's going to be pulling in the data in terms of, how are they answering questions? And then the biggest thing that teachers find is the learning gaps report. So let's say we're all on, again, fourth grade classroom, all on the same skill, but it identifies that we all have a learning gap on that skill. However, because we use kind of like a decision tree algorithm that maps each skill to a prerequisite skill. So then it'll determine, like, I'm struggling on that fourth grade skill because of a specific third grade skill that I need extra practice on, but yours might be another fourth grade skill, and then Dee Dee's might be, a second grade skill. Because we all kind of, we don't, we might all be struggling on the same thing, but for different reasons, especially because kids learn differently. So that helps them to pinpoint, and then it helps when they're giving reporting back to admin to say, like, hey, this is kind of where I'm focusing in on because it's been able to identify these for the students.
This is so, I don't know how have I never heard of this? So here's the thing. I saw our mutual friend, Katie Mincy, post about this, and that must have been after the Classroom Fixer Upper, which I was supposed to be at. So I could have met, now I'm like, another reason I should have been there, but, but this is awesome. So when you talked about teachers helping you throughout the course of a year, half a year, when did this all start? How long has this been going on?
So we started the company February 2018, went through tons of, just like development, prototyping. We worked with two incredible, classrooms, or smaller schools in Kansas City, to where we would always take it in, like even the Boddle characters, like in the classroom, like kids, what do you think about this? And they gave all their ideas. And then we finally launched the platform early 2020, which was like perfect timing for everything going remote. And when we first launched, it was just a classroom tool. But during like March, April, we saw a ton of parents trying to get onto the platform. But of course, parents, they didn't want to have to create a whole classroom and then add just their one kid. So then we created the parent portal during the summertime. And then just throughout the whole process, we've just been able to connect with so many teachers that had incredible insight into like, hey, you guys should think about adding this, and special ed teachers that are like, hey, like if you added this feature, like text to speech was a huge thing in special ed, the instructional videos as well. So it's been great because sometimes companies are so big to where you can't actually innovate. Things are just kind of there. But we were at that nimble stage where it's like, actually, we can take all this feedback, and even though we can't do everything, we can look at like what are the main things that would make this so impactful, and then like integrate that into the platform.
Yeah, it's amazing. So 3 years, 3 years of hard work, people. That's what it takes. That's pretty awesome.
And I'm listening the whole time going, okay, so I'm going to ask you the funding question, because I mean, I love that you're doing this for free, but you have to have a place to live, and you have to have a place to, sleep, and, food is always my favorite thing. So like, how is it that you have been, I mean, working for 3 years and not drawing an income from the customer, the teacher customer. How is that working?
Yeah. Okay. So when we first started, I had another job. I was working in marketing in real estate. And Clarence was full-time into Boddle. We got really lucky and, we had like a little friends and family that were like, hey, we're going to invest in you. Like we love what you guys are doing. We're going to support you. So then that was able to support Clarence's paycheck. And I was like, I'll do this for free. We're working on this thing. We believe in it so much. And then, AT&T. So AT&T's, putting a lot of effort into like education and connectivity, which is awesome. And so they have an accelerator program for education focused companies. And we applied, really didn't know that we were going to get it. And we ended up getting in, which was incredible. And so they put $100,000 into the company and we're like, this is amazing. I was still working 2 full-time jobs because then we had to hire developers and, you know, it's a big effort here. And then fast forward, to 2020 and there is a, investment firm in, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is part of the George Kaiser Family Foundation. And they saw what we were doing and they're like, guys, like this is incredible. And so they were like, we're going to invest in you as well. And that was when I was like, okay, this is, now I can quit my other job and focus full time on Boddle, which is awesome. And we started growing the team. And then just last week, Google gave us, $100,000 grant, which is mind blowing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, to really like take this thing on. And then Pharrell Williams, the artist, also invested. So it's been a lot of incredible people like coming together and organizations. And the goal is because equity is such a huge thing for us, right? Like we don't want it to be, and I just really don't want teachers to be having to pull the money out of their pockets.
Right.
The whole conversation. Teachers need to be paid way more and don't need to be paying for things. But one thing that we want to do is keep it equitable. So if it can always be free for schools and districts, and eventually when we do start to monetize, it'll be monetizing on like some extra premium game features that kids can get. So they'll always have the same educational value, same content, never locked out of the education piece. But then similar to how Fortnite monetizes with like skins for your character and stuff like that. Parents will be able to like pay for that for their kids if they want.
If they wanted to. Okay.
So pretty soon we'll be seeing Boddle Learning gift cards on shelves where people can put that like Xbox cash. There'll be Boddle cash on gift card shelves. That's so amazing. The AT&T, Google, good golly. Like from this idea 3 years ago to getting these, 6-figure support. That's awesome. Congratulations.
It's pretty wild.
I'm glad Didi asked because I was thinking the same thing. Like, wait a minute, you're doing this for free. How does this work?
Meanwhile, we'll go to the grocery store. She's out there doing a bake sale.
Yeah.
We're Boddle Learning, happy cookies. I was just wondering, like, oh my gosh. I mean, that's a huge leap of faith, though, for you guys to, in a time when there's so many uncertainties, to be able to have. I mean, I know why you have confidence in what you've made because it's amazing. But I'm just blown away by that. So that's awesome. So people can find Boddle Learning by going to
www.boddlelearning.com, BODDLE. And then if you use iPads, there is also an app on the App Store, that, works really great on iPads and iOS devices. And then next month, we're going to be releasing the Android version, which I'm really excited about.
Very cool.
So cool. Well, we'll make sure that we add all of the links to that into the show notes so people can find it. If you go to my blog right now, there is a button where you can just click on the sidebar that will take you right over there so you can find it. It is K6. I needed to add that to the description. But my mind always goes to the K2 levels to see, and it was so kindergarten, first, second grade friendly. But I can't wait to dive into the other grade levels. So
I can't wait to put my son on it. My son's in 5th grade, and he will love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yes.
I had one question. I mean, it is a math-driven platform. Have you thought about adding ELA things in there? Or are you feeling really wanting to stay focused on the math?
I'm so glad you asked that, because what we are currently working on too is allowing teachers to load their own content into Boddle. So if they have worksheets already, ELA worksheet, science, whatever it is, they can then easily add that content onto the platform. So that's something that we're working on. I've been asking teachers about as well.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
I can't even imagine what the support for that is. It sounds massive if you have that many students. Anyhow, thank you so much for joining us. I loved meeting you in real life. I love talking to you online, and I really love your product. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, and I definitely want to stay in touch because I want to be sharing this at conferences that I go to. So we'll be in touch for sure. But thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. Thank you both so much. This is fun.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Classroom Collaborative Podcast.
If you are enjoying these episodes, please make sure that you subscribe wherever you are finding them.
And share and rate it so others can find it as well.
We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Bye.